What's that cute little glossy you always put on? Because I saw it last time and we were like, I was like, your lips look so luscious and juicy. What is it?
It is Makeup by Mario.
Amazing.
Hold on. Can I do it like the influencers do?
Oh yeah, show me. I love they always put a hand behind the
I
product.
love it. I love it. It's in the color Pink Glow.
Pink glow. So do you ever do that just on its own without like another lip color, or is that what you have on now? Just that.
I'll do just a little bit of liner, just so that you can see like the outline of my lips. I am super shout out my mom for giving me these lips.
Yes.
Grateful for
Thank
her.
you, Mom.
Didn't have to do a thing about them. They just popped up.
So gorge. I love it. I love it. You know, it's funny because I love this one color from Kylie Jenner's lip kit.
I heard.
However, she actually has really great products, but the one that I get from her is matte, so it gets really freaking dry.
So dry. I know.
And I can't handle it, but she offers other colors and selections that are in velvet, but not the one I love. I like just the Kylie one. I think it's literally called Kylie, and it's just this really natural nude with like a really pretty like soft kind of pinky. It just looks like your natural lip, but when I wear it, sometimes I'm out for a bit and my lips get so chapped and I feel so bad for whoever I'm around. I literally wore it when I did the Disney half marathon because I'm like, this color's gonna stay.
On the whole
And
way.
it really did stay, but like in all the photos at the end, I just got like cracked lips.
Well, girl, you're running like
I know. Well, we breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth, but close. No, it makes sense though. I'm so one of those girls. I'm like, a lot of runners are like this. When you do the marathons, you want like the glitter on your face. I know you're a fan of that. You love that. It's fun. So we'll try. Hopefully, we'll see at the big marathon next January what I end up doing. But I don't want to talk about that right now.
that's the one in Disney World, right?
Yes.
I will
So
be
I-
going to that.
Yes,
Right,
you
and I
have
will be
to.
drinking on the side, cheering you on.
As you should. Honestly, the spectators of these runs and marathons are the best part of it. They are just the nicest, kindest people with the signs pumping you up. And
Love
some
it.
of the signs are so funny. I don't know if you've ever seen what people do at the big marathons. They're hysterical. Just so funny. They're
Oh, I
like,
love it.
if you think I'm hot, keep running. Like that kind of stuff.
It's like you have to.
Yeah.
See, the biggest run I've ever done is a 5K.
Okay, so about 3 miles.
Is that what
3.1.
it is? I don't
Yeah,
know.
3.1. No, that's good. How was that? I feel like for you that was after a holiday maybe. Was that
It-
a holiday sitch?
Not no. Well, one time, my dad and brother did a triathlon in like upstate California, and
Ooh.
Dad trained for like 6 months, busted his butt, biking, running, swimming. He was ready. Will and I went to Vegas for my birthday the weekend before, and then went to the triathlon. And Will killed it because he's like an athletic phenom. But that was rough. I just watched that one. Not to say I don't like work. I love working out. I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
I have to work out for my anxiety, like Alex. But
I know.
big long run, I don't know.
It's not the vibe. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They say people who've gone through trauma love to do marathons. So maybe you should test it out because that's why I did it.
So when I was younger, on like days and stuff, I would run for an hour on the treadmill and like learn my lines. But that's an
Huh.
60 minutes of that's like maybe like 6 or 7 miles a day. And so I think my joints are like, no, we're not doing that anymore.
That's the other thing too. As you get older, you really got to be careful and listen to your body and what you're
that's
doing. So,
By
yeah.
the way, we just got joined by my pup Eloise.
She's up. Can we see her?
Yeah, Ellie, come here, baby.
Ellie, Ellie.
Oh, that's a good girl. Here we go. Oh, God.
Oh, Ellie, what's up, my baby girl? Oh, I haven't seen her in a minute. Say hello to everyone, Ellie.
Podcast girly.
Look at that face. I think Ellie is our official mascot of a novel bunch.
Yes, I love it.
Wanna waste our time, wanna waste our time in the moonlight. Got me up all night, got me up all night in the moonlight. Wanna waste our time in the moonlight.
Well, welcome everybody to a novel bunch. We are so excited to be here today. We have a brand new book that we are starting this month. It is Summer in the City by Alex Aster. And if you are watching, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff, no matter what platform you're listening on. We appreciate you so much. But today we are going to be going through chapters 1 through 8. And Molly, I want to know, how do you feel about diving into a brand new book after we just completed People We Meet on Vacation?
It's so interesting. It's all, first of all, I'd like to say that People We Meet on Vacation has officially joined the bookshelf. So welcome to our, eventually we'll have all our books, and then, you know, if somebody wants to like put their new up and coming book on the shelf, I don't know, we're working through it.
Ooh, a moment for the shelf, ladies and gentlemen.
I always have a little bit of sadness finishing a book and then like trying to feed that hole of putting a new book in. So it always takes a second to get into the new book because I still have all the old characters and story and world in my head. That's why I love series, because it's like, okay, let's go through everything. And by the time you've read like a 7-series book, you're like, okay, I think we've beaten that story to death. I'm ready for a new one. But these one-offs are hard because I want more.
I am the exact same way. And I almost feel when I start a new book after a one-off that I'm kind of like cheating on the old characters and story, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what would they think? I spent all that time with them. But it's okay. It's giving like fresh, new energy in life, which I love, because that every single month we get to bring that into the pod. And it's exciting. It's a different story. It takes place in New York City. And this one is a lovers to enemies, back to lovers.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we're very excited for that. But yeah, like let's kick it off. Chapter 1, she starts right in the beginning. This first sentence just made my heart go, oh my goodness. It's in New York City. Every weekend is a chance to live in a movie.
Oh,
So good.
I know.
So good.
it's so true. One, I've wanted to live in New York City my entire life. So have you. Like, that's our dream, right? And I got to do that for a year, and it was the coolest. Like, I don't think you feel more alive than when you're in New York City. And it's a whole nother thing to visit than it is to live there. And living there is so great because you can also retire to your home and you can see the city. You just know at all times the city is out and about and there's things going on. And I love that. I like the chaos. Obviously we've talked about, I'm a big fan of chaos, so I really appreciate the chaoticness of New York City. But like, you can just go outside of your door and walk somewhere and find the most amazing food, the most interesting people, the coolest music. Like, I love New York City.
Now, do you remember your very first trip to New York City? How old you were? What you thought? What was that like?
You know what's crazy? And I was joking with my dad about this because he must have had like the fattest oil deal go through, right? Because he took us when I was 10, Will was 8, I think. He took us to New York City and we stayed at the Plaza Hotel. I
The
was
best.
like, Dad, what kind of money were you pulling? I was at the Plaza Hotel. What? He's like, yeah, I was killing it back then.
That is vibes.
We stayed at the Plaza Hotel, which I was obsessed with because of the book Eloise by Kay Thompson, which my mom used to read to me. I named my dog after her. And it was about the little girl that lives at the plaza. So we went, and I also was obsessed with Broadway, right? Because at 10, I was like ready to move to LA and be an actor, but I loved the theater. And so we saw Cats, which was my first show on Broadway. And once again, my parents were very worried about like, how is she going to sit through a long musicals are like 3.5 hours, and I guess I just sat here like this the whole time. But my dad said I was walking around the streets like not waiting for signs, or like, he's like, it felt like you had been here in a past life, like you were an old Broadway dame.
You're walking around going, that showbiz baby.
Still gonna sing. Just, like stopping taxis and stuff. It was apparently I was just a little city girl.
So for me, I was a freshman in high school, and it was kind of crazy. So in South Florida, where I grew up, there was this theater called Broward Center of the Performing Arts, the big theater where all the touring Broadway shows come. And they had this performance troupe for high school kids where you would go and audition, and like literally hundreds of people would go, and all of the performing high schools or performing arts high schools, the really good ones, everyone would go. And I remember going to this audition. I'm from a public school, right? So like all these people have all this training. I'm just like, what am I doing here? This is wild. But by the grace of God, for I think it was 2 or 3 years I did it, I got into this troupe. And so When I was a freshman, they took us to New York City, baby. And because of this performance troupe, I learned everything I could about Broadway. Literally, they taught me what the Tonys were. I didn't even know what that was, which is so crazy in ninth grade. How do I not know the Tonys? But they taught me everything. And so we go there, and the creative director, his name was Scott, and he is just the absolute best. Like the fondest memories of this wonderful, wonderful gentleman, still Facebook friends, as you know. And so he knew I was the only one in this group who had never been to New York City. So we're all on this bus, and I just will never forget driving up, and all of a sudden I see like the skyscrapers and the marquees and the theaters and the people and the culture and the fashion. And I was just, it was a spiritual awakening for me. I was like, what is this place? Where am I? You know, there's nothing like it. And so we got to see Hairspray. And back then, you know, who was playing Link was Matthew Morrison, because this is like 2002.
Not Mr. Glee himself.
Yes, Mr. Glee himself. And I have this photo. I went to Stage Door, and I'm in the soft baby pink newsboy hat and those very 2000s like see-through sunglasses, the low-rise jeans, little crop top, thinking I'm Britney Spears running around the city.
Like,
and
I just feel this man's heart.
It's like 15 years old. And then, you know, the other crazy thing, we got to see Thoroughly Modern Millie with the Sutton Foster, who I am such a fan of her. And that completely changed my life. And the craziest thing afterwards, one of my friends was like, hurry, Alyssa, we got to go to Stage Door. We got to meet Sutton Foster. And my little bladder was like, girl, I'm so sorry. I will meet you there. And so I met her there, and Sutton was gone. But it's okay. It was an amazing experience. And after that, I was like, I am moving to New York after high school. Ended up in LA. You know, life changes and pivots. But one day, Miss Molly Burnett, you and I, we gonna be there. We're gonna do our New York thing.
Yeah,
so yes, that was my first time. And what's interesting with this story is Elle, our protagonist, does not agree with how we feel about this city. She despises New York City. It is not her vibe.
Yeah, that was hard for me to read because I'm just trying to figure out like how. But New York City can be incredibly overstimulating for somebody that just like doesn't want to live that. It's loud, it's chaotic, it's stinky. Like I love it, but I guess I could see.
Yeah, some people, I mean, it's for you or it's not for you. And in her case, I mean, she was from California. We learned she's a screenwriter, and it was her last night in New York City. And so she goes, you know what? I want to have my movie moment. I'm going to go out with my bestie, Penelope, who we meet, and we love Penelope. She's so much fun.
Yes.
She's so much fun. But she's going to this club, and she said she never has been to a club. Have you ever been to a club, Molly?
What's that? Hold on, my dad's calling me. Yeah, Dad.
See yourself out.
See yourself out. Yeah. When I first moved to LA, the club life was on the tail end of it being huge still. So like, you know, when like Britney Spears and Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan, like I came a little bit after them, so it wasn't as crazy, but it was still pretty prominent.
Even going to Les Deux, Warwick. You and I have gone to a lot of clubs together in our time. And that was the thing in LA back during the years we were, what is that, like 2010 up, I guess? That is when it was so much fun to club. And I hear now nightlife is like not great there. I wouldn't really know.
I'll say this, because I want to say it was even earlier, because I moved out to LA in 07 and got days in 08. So I think it was 09 that we were all like, because that was when Freddie was joined, I feel like, so that's when we were all going out. And phones weren't a big thing. People weren't recording everything to try and embarrass people. Like, it was just like, you're very present in what's happening, for better or for worse, right? Like, phones have helped call people out that should be called out, but they've also really hurt people that maybe just did something dumb. So the club life is definitely not a big thing anymore, but I'm also not a big clubber, so I might not be the best person to talk to about that, but I'd much rather have like a nice dinner and a martini than a club, but I do still love a dance moment.
I do too. And I feel like we definitely got to experience the good club life.
Very.
And now as you get a little older, you're like, okay, let's go get some drinkies. Oh, I do love a dance moment too, it just depends. And I feel like in New York City that can happen, right?
All the time. Now, when I was in New York, there were all different kinds of clubs, and it was like very secretive, like downstairs, or you had to know somebody, or it was a little, which is also could be its own version of annoying, but two very different worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And what's crazy with Elle in this book is she's at a club. She doesn't usually go. She never wears high heels. She never dresses up. And she's there and she despises this club. The floors are sticky. The couple next to her is just like grinding at any moment, about to just go all the way. And she's like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, yes. Which, we don't know how long she had been living in New York. Because part of me is like, you've never been to a club here before? You've never seen people dance? Like, in the very beginning, I'm getting low-key wet blanket a little bit from Elle.
Okay.
Say it's a bad thing. I want to watch her journey, but right now I'm getting a little bit of like, come on, man, let's do this. This will be fun, as opposed to like a Poppy that was just down for everything. So this is on me. I'm comparing our girls right now.
Yeah, no, and that's totally valid. We spent so much time with Poppy, and dare to say, Elle is the complete opposite of her.
Complete opposite, yes.
And it's funny too, because even Elle was saying to Penelope, yeah, I want to get the French fries across the street from the club, then I'll go. Like she was just down for that. So you can tell, you know what, maybe she's a homebody, maybe she's just not into that life. She's a writer, she likes to stay home. However, when she's at this club and she's looking around and she's got a sour face, she doesn't want to be there, and a voice calls out, and it's a man in a black shirt, and he just goes, having fun? And she goes, no. She's like, I'm going to be honest with this guy. I'm not. He's probably a bouncer. He's probably going to kick me out. She thought he was a bouncer because he's all in black.
She's in line for the bathroom?
Yes, correct.
Line, yeah.
Because it's a single bathroom. She's just not about that life. We know what that's like. And if you really do have to go to the bathroom, that is the worst. In this case, I don't think she has to go. I think she's just kind of trying to get out of the club. But
I've very often gone to the bathroom because I'm overstimulated.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, I just need a minute to like step away from like the dancing bodies and the sticky floor, and I just need to breathe and have a moment with my phone,
I need to doom scroll in the bathroom for a second.
Oh, yes. And so she's waiting, and this man, he says to her, yeah, everyone knows the types of people who come here to this club on nights like these, who mill around the bathroom where it's quiet, who come to party with naive tech millionaires. She didn't love that. It's implying some not very nice stuff, and she's thinking in her head, bro, you don't even know who I am.
How do you know she's not a successful?
Yeah.
She is, by the way.
Yeah, and what if she's the tech millionaire?
Yeah, thank you. What about that?
Before you know it, she's like, this is my last night here. They've got some chemistry, and they end up making out and just going at it. And they end up going through a set of doors, and the light out there is a lot brighter. You know how like when you leave a club and you're actually like with those bright lights and you're like, please, someone help me. But she catches a glimpse of him and she's like, oh gosh, like this guy is fine. Like he's got green eyes. Yeah. Dark hair. Yeah. She kept saying he was really built, very, very tall. And she's like, even in heels, he's way taller than me. So right off the bat, I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm being able to see who these characters might be. And then he asks her, what do you want? And then he very carefully says, I want to take you home.
So soon.
Yeah. And she's just kind of quiet, and she gets triggered because he says to her, well, what else do you want? Am I enough, or do I need to take you on a helicopter ride? Do I need to take you to dinner? And in her mind, she's like, this guy's calling me a gold digger. Like, what the heck? And she gets mad.
Here's the thing, and I know we get all these cute tropes in romance books, right? Because like it feeds a part of our feminineness. But relax, man. You're also at this club making out with some random girl because you're like, it just felt very much like just felt a little obnoxious.
It did. It very much did. And the more I'm reading about him, I feel like this is just his personality, because he is very successful. He seems very cocky, really gets a rise out of anyone and anything. He's used to getting what he wants all the time. I mean, shocker. An attractive billionaire. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he's used to hearing yes quite often. But that really pisses Elle off. And they made a comment that a person who could be enticed into someone's bed because of their money is essentially what he was saying she was all about. She leaves through the door. She finds Penelope. And Penelope's like, where have you been? And all of a sudden, here comes a millionaire right through the doors behind her. And her friend looks at him and goes, oh my gosh, you're with the CEO of Atomic? And I guess that's like the big new company,
it's like
tech
Facebook or whatever. It's, the big tech company of our story. Not mad about the CEO.
No, not at all. And he even turns to her and says, does that change anything? And she's like, I hope this tech bubble bursts and your company dissolves. Like, she was so mad. And she freaking leaves. The actual bouncers escort her out. And she essentially ends that chapter going like, this guy was calling me a gold digger. So much for my big movie moment. I'm out of here. And she probably at that moment was like, thank God I get to go back to LA.
Yeah.
Like, screw this place. But speaking of those kind of movie moments that very first sentence kind of shared with us, is there ever anything that's happened in your life where you can look back and go, that kind of was like a movie moment? Like, that was so magical, or anything that sticks out?
I'm going to say the place that I lived in when I was living in New York City was always a constant movie moment. I just got to live my dream in my dream apartment, and the elevator opened to my place, and it was, oh my gosh, the view was it was the most beautiful, fun, cool. It was like, I did this for 10-year-old Molly who just wanted to live here so badly. And my dad came to visit often. My brother came to visit. So like I got to share it with my family. And it was just so you would like wake up and there would be a little dial that would bring the shades up. And
amazing.
It was half the bedroom was all windows. So it would just be Manhattan, and I was in Lower East Side, and it was just like such a movie moment every day.
So you're filming a show at this point. You're in the Lower East Side. How long were you there? Maybe about a year or so? And so did you have, I guess, a specific schedule route that you did every day that you're like, this is where I'm getting my coffee. This is... Yeah.
Oh my God, yes! Shout out my boys at Current Coffee. They're not there anymore. They just left. What would I get? I would get an iced coffee with a double espresso shot in it. Like
amazing.
Even if it was like 20 degrees, like I'd have to wake up really early because we'd film really early, right? I'd have to wake up and I'd have to walk Ellie around the block, and she would shit on the sidewalk because there wasn't a lot of grass. And I would go to my boys at Current Coffee, and they would make me, even freezing weather, I'd still get my iced coffee because that's the LA in me, right? Like I'm still LA girl. And I'd do that, and then they'd pick me up, and I'd go film, and I'd come back, and then there was a bar down below called Phoebe's, and it was a sports bar, and so I'd watch sports games there. The Bowery Hotel was across the street. Like, it was just, oh my God, it was so amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So when you were filming, was it generally on location and you would go to different areas all the time to see New York, or was there a sound stage, or how did that?
Soundstage. That's where all of the the main, like the bulk was filmed in the soundstage, and then we'd have location, whatever crime had been committed, we would usually be on a location, and so we'd film all over Manhattan. We filmed on Staten Island once, New Jersey often, like upstate New York a few times. It was really cool. It was so cool to film in New York City.
I was going to say that right there is a magic movie moment, like getting your dream job with a dream apartment. Your family gets to come. You're in New York City, the dream city. And I just love that. Going from there, we go into chapter 2, and it's 2 years later. Ella's at the airport.
Big jump cut.
Big jump cut, but I kind of like that because sometimes I hate when they give me filler story and I'm like, yeah, I don't really need this. Like, tell me what's up, what's happening.
The meat and potatoes.
Give me the meat and potatoes. And she's at the airport. She's on the phone with her bestie Penelope, and all of a sudden she's at Hudson News, and who does she see? This billionaire all over the cover of every single magazine. And this guy for the past 2 years has literally just been haunting her. Like that night, she's been reliving in her head. And we come to learn a little bit later that just what he said, everything he was standing for, hit a nerve in her that, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I'm doing. How dare you insinuate that, right?
Really
She was,
inspired a lot of her writing after that, it would appear.
yes.
We love that.
Yeah. And so she was, explaining too that her mom raised her to be really strong and how dare someone kind of say this stuff to her. So she's seeing him all over the airport and she is literally thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I don't ever see this guy again. Like she's going back to New York City. Her last memory there is with this guy who is now nicknamed the Billionaire Bachelor. So we're
To see somebody on every magazine, somebody that did you kind of dirty, see them on every magazine, every interview, everything. That would be tough. I don't envy her.
No. And especially too, even in the entertainment industry, working in it for so long, there's so many people you meet and people you date and you're bound to see things. But I feel like at this level, you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, but what can you do except move on? So she does move on and she starts chatting with Penelope about this like hot surgeon that she's kind of dating. Right. And Penelope seems to not have issues with dating, right? Like she's always attracting really great guys. And at this point, Penelope, she's the kind of girl, she's my kind of girl, you give her a name. You give her a city, and within 5 minutes, she's got a full background report, X's, star signs, whatever it is. We got you.
What did she say? Don't worry, I already did a full internet sweep of him, followed by all of his past girlfriends with my shadow account, put a Google alert for his name, and verified his identity back to middle school.
My girl. I love you, Penelope. I see you, baby.
So you coded. I love it. I'll be like, somebody just DM'd me. Who is this person? She's like, hold on. All this information. It's so impressive.
Thank you so much. It's my favorite thing. So my passion project, really. That being said, Penelope ends up, really liking the surgeon or, kind of liking him, whatever. And basically, Elle was saying that he's a really good guy, which in LA is to be treated with care.
Facts.
And I wanted to know because, look, dating in LA, for anyone who's never done it, it ain't for the faint at heart. Let's just start there. There's a lot of crazy things that happen, a lot of different types of people who flock to LA, entertainment industry, all that. And I'm just curious from your perspective, why you think it is that it is difficult. And I'm talking about even back in 2010 to current day. I know now with dating apps, it makes people so much more available and it's probably so different than what I did, but I'm curious what you think the top reasoning for that could be potentially.
Let's get into it.
Is that a Celsius? Dad said no. Papa Burnett said no.
It's not because I'm bored or anything. I'm very excited. I didn't get very good sleep last night. So we need a little bit of, I'm sorry, Dad, I'm sorry. Dating in LA. Here's the thing. This town attracts all the big, awesome fish in small ponds all over the world, and they all come here. And artists are innately complex individuals. And LA offers you, if you work hard and you're lucky, money and notoriety and ego boosters. And so all of that together is tough to navigate. Mm-hmm. And I think that our phones and dating apps make it harder because there are no shortage of new people on your phones or new people coming into the town. And so I think it's the I don't even know if you could say female-male thing, but I think you could maybe make the assumption that the female is more open to, at least I know when I date somebody, I'm dating that person. I'm not looking around. And I can't always say that men offer the same.
And especially in a city like LA,
where everyone's hot and charismatic.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's just how it rolls. And then also, too, you get so many fresh people off the bus, as they say, who are coming in when other people are leaving. And so they're just new people with the bright, starry eyes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an interesting beast to tackle, if you will. I think
Yeah.
there's just so much that goes into it, and it is so complex, and artists are so complex, and so is the industry, right?
Right, right. And we could really go down the rabbit hole here and talk about, men and women and dating in 2025, for lack of that becoming very boring very quickly. We'll just dive into chapter 3. But I will say that dating in LA is hard, but dating in general is hard
Sure.
nowadays.
I feel that. Well, so at the end of the chapter, it ends with her on a plane back to the city that she swore she would never go back to. And it opens up.
Yeah.
Summer in New York City is a hellscape. And this one, I am sorry, I can attest to it. And this is why. Let me explain. Let me just explain. Not that I personally can attest to it, but I was with someone who was. I made a very rookie mistake of introducing New York City to my husband during the mid heat of summer. So we are there and it is hot, right? Like concrete jungle, you're sweating, the sun is reflecting off the concrete, off the buildings, and it is just wet, it is hot, it is sticky. And our parents were meeting at this point. I think this was maybe like 13 years ago. Yeah. And they met in New York City. So, number one, it's really hot. And my parents lived in New Jersey at this point in Long Branch. So, it was really easy for us to meet his parents. I think they came in from Ohio. They did come in from Ohio, but we met in New York. So, number one, strike one, it's really, really hot. Strike number two, we are so hot outside. We are all melting that we're like, okay, let's go get air conditioning somewhere. Let's go get food. So, we find the only restaurant that's near us is a sushi restaurant, which sushi during the heat, probably not a great idea. Number two, the husband does not like sushi at all. So not only is he melting, he's hangry after we leave this restaurant. The last part of the story is we were going to a Broadway show. We were going to see Jersey Boys. Come to find out, Freddie doesn't love him a Broadway show. It's not really his vibe, but he's hungry, he's hot, and we're trying to get to the theater on time. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm trying to get a cab. Like, let's go. And he goes, you know what, babe? I'm going to go get a pedicab, like one of the bike cabs. He goes, I'm going to bring my parents there. I'll meet you and your parents there.
Freddie, please.
So he gets a pedicab and they go a couple blocks and like $200 plus tip later, he's at the theater. He's sweating, he's hungry, and he's about to go sit in a show that is just
Jersey
not.
Boys, which, if you're not a musical person, that's like maybe the worst thing to bring somebody to.
And so after that trip, he's like, babe, I know you love it.
He's like, I'm good on New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say this. When you live in New York City and you have to deal with the cold and the freezing, all the people, when it gets hot, they love it because it's like and I would imagine this is most cold to hot to cold environments, is that once you like earn your spring and summer. And so I feel like less people in New York look at it as like, oh, gross, summer's up. They're like, finally, it's been so cold here. We're so grateful for the heat. So maybe you earned it, because if y'all are in Florida, it's warm all the time anyway.
Exactly. So we're used to
Cali,
it.
we're not earning anything. We're in great weather all the time.
I see people on TikTok and they'll be New Yorkers and they go, look, don't make a decision to move here on like the first spring warm day in New York City, because trust me, we had a winter. And they were complaining that I guess this winter was really bad. But, I've never lived in the cold climate. Was that difficult for you when you did that, going from California, or you're kind of used to it?
I mean, I'm from Colorado, so I'm no stranger to the cold. The cold humidity, that's new. Cold in New York, because it's humid, it gets into your bones and it aches everything. Cold in Colorado is super dry, so it can be cold, but it's still actually quite lovely because you're not just miserable. So I would say that I kept every weekend I have to buy a new coat, because I moved there. I didn't have any, I had California clothes. So I brought them all back here. Now I have all these coats that I'll don't need. So, but I'm used to it.
That's interesting. I never thought of the different types of cold, because I obviously know the different types of warmth, but that's That's interesting. Well, so yeah, at some point I am going to bring Freddie back and return to New York, and he's going to love it. He knows that, yeah. But speaking of return, so Ella's finally back. And she is
And so are we.
So are we. And she is house sitting for a couple who's getting renovations done, and in turn, it's a stunning unit, right? It's on a floor that only has
Apartments, which means in New York City, the only, if it's a building with just two places, you know they're massive.
yes. And she made a comment too where she was like, yeah, I couldn't say no to this couple or whoever it was that lived there when they asked me if I wanted to stay there. And it made me think, I wonder who these people are.
Yeah.
But we haven't gotten there yet. Gotten there yet. We also discover she's a movie writer and her agent is CAA, which tells us.
Successful. By the way, for our listeners, CAA and WME are the biggest theatrical talent agents in the world. So the fact that she's represented by CAA means she's like blockbuster level screenwriter. And we do find out one of her movies made $500 million. So we're talking like Marvel level or like Sinners level screenplay writers. Which means she's a bad bitch. So when that guy called her out for being a gold digger, like,
That's why she was so triggered. She goes, yeah, watch yourself.
Yeah.
Don't you freaking dare. So she gets there. She's back in New York. It's super hot out. She's in sweats. She's tracking her suitcase. I mean, you can imagine. And she finally is like, I just need a local coffee shop. I need to find the place. It's going to be my place where I sit and I write, because we come to find out she's been having writer's block for a while. And so she sits there and she does everything but write. She goes through her emails. Yeah. Are you a procrastinator?
I said a great way, I wrote this in our notes. I said a great way to get everything done you need to get done is have one really important thing you need to do. Because I will do everything else I need to do before I do that one really important thing. So I know if I schedule one really important thing, all the other shit I gotta do, bills, laundry, clean, whatever, it'll get done so I don't have to do the big thing. And that is how you beat ADHD.
Ooh, mic drop, Molly. So I guess in this case, Ella's beating her ADHD, right? She's gotten everything else done. And she heads back eventually to her new place, but it's pouring out. So it's raining. And she's like, oh my gosh, I just need to get inside. She's still in these sweats. Her hair is just completely drenched to her face. She feels like a hot mess. Well, she gets into the elevator and she goes to press the button and her fingers collide with someone else's.
Not fingers collide.
The fingers were colliding.
Now,
and
Alex Aster.
Alex Aster, why are there fingers?
Alex.
And so she turns around and she runs into him, the billionaire bachelor, Mr. Parker Warren. We come to find out, Parker Warren. Love that. Love that name.
Yep.
And we come to find out that Parker Warren is now her floor mate. So she's going to be living right next to him. And Elle says, she's like, yeah, I really fantasized about like seeing him again, because for a long time she really hated this guy. She still does. And for whatever reason, he's been like front and center in her mind. And I guarantee that this is not the way she fantasized seeing him again.
Low key. She's got to be stoked, right? Like, if I made out with this super hot, successful guy, even if he was kind of an idiot, I didn't defend myself in that moment, and I could have, so maybe that's a little bit on me. Like, yeah, he's an idiot, but now now we're on the same floor, and I get to, like, maybe run into him from time to time. I would be a little bit like, hey,
Low-key, you're excited, of course. And you know what's funny? Because I was going to ask you, how would you feel about this? Would this be like a nightmare or iconic situation where you're like, well, yeah, I think so too.
Let's get drunk and make out again.
But thinking about it, I don't think in my life I've ever had a situation where there's been someone I was an enemy with that went to a lover. Like, I don't think I've ever done that, or someone I couldn't stand. Have you? Is that been a real life trope for you? Because I was thinking back to my young years. I'm like,
I don't think I've ever had an enemy to lover.
You weren't in the mafia or something.
This is pretty well documented, but I dated somebody on a show that I was on, and we broke up, and they put our characters together after we broke up.
Did they know that you guys were broken up and they just didn't care?
I
I'm
have no
sure.
idea. I have no idea. Maybe, but that was, but you're a professional. We're not the first group of people to like. Didn't he date the girl that played? Didn't he marry the girl that played his sister? Weird.
Oh, that's right. See,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like Outer Banks of
Or
Chase
that.
Stokes
Yes,
and Mad.
when you put a bunch of hot, charismatic people in a room,
Yeah,
it's gonna
things
be
are
tough,
gonna happen.
right? Unless they're with somebody and they're loyal and they're being good. But if you put a bunch of single, hot, charismatic actors together,
But when you had to do kissing scenes, is that something where you're just so sick because you broke up, or is there like low key thoughts of like, well, I kind of enjoyed this, but also don't call me.
well, for some reason, it became a job. In that
Hmm.
moment for me, it was just like, because a common misconception is that when you're doing kissing scenes and love making scenes, that it's hot and it's fun. It's not. It's so uncomfortable. You got 50 people watching you. You're trying to make sure you're covering the things that you need to cover. The director's yelling notes. You've got a boom guy over you and a camera guy and another like and you no you don't like you're sweaty. Like it's not fun and
It's
hot.
not sexy. Yeah. Did
Not
you have intimacy coordinators back then, or is this a newer thing? Did ya?
We had nothing.
Oh God.
Nothing. It was like, oh, you're grabbing my tit. Okay, all right.
Oh, we're doing that. Oh,
Sorry, Dad.
improv.
Because there's no guy. Thank God for intimacy coordinators, right? Because it really is a dance. But pre that, which it's only been in the last couple of years that's really been a designated thing, is it's just kind of like, how do we make this look like we're really into each other? And so you have to like do the things because if you're just like kissing, it doesn't look like you. So you have to sell this, right? But then with that comes so it's thank goodness there's somebody whose job it is to, because also I don't know if you're like a little bit shy like me, I'm not going to sit the guy I have a scene with down and be like, all right, so do you want to grab my left tit or do you want to like grab my butt or how do you like, I can't say that, but the intimacy coordinator will be like, okay, your hand, her left breast, your shoulder,
Yeah.
his knee, you do this, you kiss twice, you use tongue, you don't, like they'll just say it. Right? So
Yeah.
it takes all the pressure off the actor.
Oh my gosh, fascinating times. And it's crazy to see how it evolves in the industry and even, that situation,
Yeah.
because talk about awkward.
Well, and it's interesting because I want to say, now I could be talking out of my ass like I did with Monica Barbaro. I still don't.
Did you see the Instagram I sent you? I sent her this I sent her this US Weekly photo of Andrew Garfield and his actual real life girlfriend. I'm like, "Oh wait, look, it's Emily Bader." It wasn't Emily Bader. It's
I'm
Monica.
so sorry.
I love it. It's so good.
I could be talking out of my ass, but I want to say some of the Sex and the City women didn't have intimacy coordinators, and then they had to and just like that, they have intimacy coordinators now, and some of them don't like it.
Ooh. Well, I recall because I was a big Sex and the City girly that Carrie Bradshaw, Sarah Jessica Parker played her. She didn't really have as many sex scenes as the other ladies, right? Like she didn't really ever go topless. I don't think ever.
I don't think she ever did, and we saw everybody else's.
Yeah, I mean Samantha, Charlotte, Miranda, they went for it. And rewatching that show back, I'm like, damn, this is so authentic, right? Like you really feel like you're watching it, and I feel like part of that could have been because back then anything would go, right? And as these actresses are saying, you're saying they don't like it now, correct?
Yeah, I guess you could see it could make the process stiff, but not.
No.
Sorry.
See yourself out, number 2.
But because if you're choreographing a scene that's supposed to look tender and romantic and impromptu, but you already know everything you're gonna. I see both sides.
Yeah. On the same note, I feel like when it comes to comedies, I love when they allow the actors to improv. I feel like that's when you get the gold. It's just the best, the line-oramas, all of it. But I feel like it could be similar with the romance scenes too, where if you look back at Sex and the City back in the day and they just let the actors go, as long as they were comfortable, of course. You don't want any weird ish going on there. But I can see both sides to that, where you're like, this is a little too choreographed, you know? But the more you know, the more you know. I'll go off on that tangent all day, but let's hop back into chapter 4.
So, can I just say, Penelope said, wow, Elle, Karma is so not your boyfriend. I'm sorry, why? Because she's living next to a hot billionaire? Like, God hates her because
I think God loves her in that moment.
I think she's one of his favorites. Obviously, he's a good kisser. He's a douchebag, but he's obviously a good kisser. It'd be fun to get, make out with. I don't know. Not the worst thing. There was a quote of the week that I loved.
Ooh.
And it said, it's interesting how love colors things I would normally hate into my absolutely favorite shade. And I thought that was so interesting because when you're falling for somebody, everything is brighter, everything tastes better, everything, you wake up giddy, it's just this is like we talked about in previous episodes, is all these, your brain is being flooded with chemicals, so it's a high situation, but like everything is just so fun. So I loved that quote. Also, we found out that Elle's mom is dead. That's okay. I think it's a prerequisite for a successful story to lose the mom, because the mom is the glue that holds the family together. So that's where all the chaos comes from.
We should follow each book and see if this is something that we continue to see, like a pattern, But that does make a lot of sense because moms hold it all together, right? When I was reading that, I go, oh no, not again.
It's so funny. You're so sweet. I texted you. I go, oh, another dead mom. And poor Liz goes, Molly, I'm so
You're so blunt with it.
I'm also a very blunt person, so it is what it is. But we end the chapter with our girl in sweats eating fried chicken, cookies and cream milkshake, in a beautiful Manhattan apartment that she doesn't have to pay for because she's house sitting. So I'm trying to figure out where the problem is.
Well, the other interesting thing is Miss Penelope, her bestie, reminded her, I hate to say this, but maybe he doesn't remember who you are. Yeah. And that thought never crossed her mind because she was like, oh gosh, here I am hating him with my whole heart for 2 years. And maybe this guy doesn't even know who I am. Like, how awkward, how embarrassing.
Super awkward.
But at the end of the episode or the chapter, she, like you said, ordered herself a little fried chicken sandwich, a little milkshake. And I'm like, to be honest, this is kind of the dream for me. I mean, with your television show on, in New York City in this brilliant apartment.
The only thing that would make it better is if it were a vanilla milkshake.
Oh. Good callback. Okay, well, what is your favorite cheat meal? Like, if you were Elle in this situation, what would you be ordering?
Well, when I was in New York, there was a taco spot that I would get tacos from. Or there was a bakery right down the street that I would go to. I gained 10 pounds in New York, which is hard to do.
Easy.
You walk everywhere,
no? Oh.
The pastries were so good. And the line would be around the block at 9, so you'd have to get there real early. And they had these croissants with pistachio butter in them, and they'd have oh my god, it was just, everything was so delicious. So that would be my cheat meal when I was in New York.
Ooh, I love that. Have you ever gone to Marie Crisis, the Broadway karaoke bar in West Village?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
I didn't know.
Belt out Broadway tunes?
Yes.
I had a guy meet me there that I had met and on a dating app, and he was gonna meet me there, and he gets in there, and my friend and I were belting out Broadway tunes, and he's like, and he left.
Stop. He goes,
no.
You have a great night, Molly. I brought my sister there once, and Broadway is so not her vibe. She was looking around going, what is this?
Not fun if you're not about that life, but it's not where you want to.
It's so fun.
It's small, it's cramped, it's sweaty. There's a bunch of Broadway
best
babies.
Yes.
Wicked at the top of their lawn. It's miserable for people.
A dream for me. But next to it, there is this pizza place where I don't even know what it's called. I just remember every time I've gone, right next to it, this shocker, there's pizza stands all over the whole city. But that one specifically was so good. So I feel like if it were me, I'd have to get some pizza from there. And then I don't know if New York has a Chili's.
Maybe it depends where you.
But you know that Chili's is my absolute favorite. And I would need to have that slice of pizza, and then I would need to get my skillet queso from Chili's, probably with a side salad with some like crispy chicken, some ranch dressing, mixed cheese, cucumbers. And then I might end it with like some chicken quesadillas, just cheese and chicken, dipping in some ranch. Like that's what I'm going to be doing if I'm Elle. So going to Times Square to get my Chili's, then going all the way back down to West Village to get my pizza.
Perfect.
And then I'm going home.
I love it.
Do we know where she lives in New York? Have they mentioned that? No, they haven't.
No, I'm just assuming Lower East Side just because that's where I was. So I'm just assuming.
That's what you're seeing. Because your main character every time you read it, right?
Of course. I don't know if I want to be Elle right now. I think I want to be Penelope. Or yeah.
Penelope. Okay. Fair.
But if Elle gets the hot billionaire, I want to be her. Okay, so chapter 5 and 6.
Yes.
Chapter 5, we find out she has a Pilates body even though she doesn't work out.
Which, girl, I be doing Pilates so hard. I just had it today. I had a level 2.5 class, which you start at level 1. It goes level 1, level 1.5, level 2, level 2.5. I don't think I've ever sweat so much. Like literally my instructor came up to me and she goes, girl, you're sweating. I'm like, yeah, this was really difficult. So my whole point is that if this girl can have a Pilates body, I don't even have a Pilates body is what I'm saying. Like I work my butt off and she just has one.
Eating chicken sandwiches and drinking milkshakes. And
kind of the dream.
Said, yeah, it's fantastic. I wish I had that kind of genetics. Just crazy genetics. God chooses a couple of people.
Well, and then we learn too that she's woken up and there's this big alarm going off and she gets up and she's got cramps from that damn chicken sandwich she ate with the milkshake. So she grabs her laptop before she runs out because she's like, my baby, like my work, everything is on here. She's got her big old laptop in one hand and then she goes to push the door open to go down the escape stairs. And she slams right into a body. And whose body do you think that is?
I'm going to say Parker's.
Maybe it's Parker's. And she's not thrilled. She is in like her little sleep shorts and a little cami, which she really shares a lot that she doesn't usually show her body at all. Like she's always in sweats. When she was at the club, she couldn't believe that she was in like a short skirt. Like that's just not something she usually does. A little more conservative. So she's in her head saying that he probably doesn't remember her and like, you know, don't be weird. And he asks her, he goes, you going to carry that laptop all the way down? And then he glares at her and she says, I would be a liar if I didn't admit that it makes my stomach sort of flip.
So at least she's acknowledging that like she gets butterflies. Also, can I just tell you, 60 flights of stairs, that's how high we know they are. Having to go down that, sometimes our elevator would crap out and we were 12 floors and that was exhausting. So also, you know, the giant buildings in New York, like the thinnest ones that they just kind of built that sway in the wind. I guess they were having some technical difficulties when those first came up and people moved in and the elevators shut, but that's like 200 floors. And so everybody was stuck in their places up there.
See, that would terrify me. I don't know if I could go up that high. I don't love that.
I could go up that high for a meeting.
Sure. But even then, I'm like looking around the whole time. What was that movie that we used to always watch as kids, Final Destination, and all the weird stuff would happen? They just came out with another one. And when people were there watching the movie...
Ceiling fall on them?
Yeah. So I go, I don't like that. I don't like that. I do not claim that at all. But here she is in the stairwell. Ella's like... She's telling him, I can't go down this. I haven't worked out since 10th grade PE. And he's like, okay. He goes, well, here. And he puts his hand out and she's like, I'm not holding his hand. He goes, your laptop. She was like, she goes,
WB is what we're going to call it.
Wet blanket. She literally is saying to him, I have a bunch of encryptions on there. You're not going to be able to get into my computer. He goes, I don't need a laptop. Like, don't worry. And he goes, and if something happens to you, up here and I'm safe with your laptop down there. Like, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be with me. So let's go. And he tries to get her to go down. So they finally start going down the stairs a little bit. And then after 10 more flights, this poor girl is just dying. And she's like, I can't go anymore. And thank goodness the bells stop ringing and they're free to go. And so she gets her laptop and she literally just bolts. And she's like, I can't even with this guy.
Nothing. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're living in pretend land where you're not attracted to this hot billionaire. I don't know. I love in chapter 6, she goes, I hold grudges like security blankets. I treat everyone like a thief. I resist change. I'm like, maybe you need Lexapro.
Hunty, we can help you.
Shout out my SSRI. Let's go.
And so she's back now in the coffee shop trying to forget about last night and running into Parker. And, you know, they had some banter back and forth, too, when they were in the stairwell. And he was being real cheeky with her, you know?
Very
like,
cheeky. You think he remembers?
Yes. Do you?
I'm going to say no for fun.
For fun? Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I definitely think he remembers.
Really? I mean,
yes.
deep down, I think so too. But it's not as fun if we.
But for
she
this,
also talked about how and help me how we get into this. But she talked about how her mom didn't get very good medical care because it was so expensive, and how she hates the medical community, and that it wasn't until the last year. She said her mom only got good medical care because she made the biggest mistake of her life. But we don't know what that mistake is.
correct. And so I felt that she said yes to doing this project in New York about the city she hates, writing the screenplay, because she knew she was going to be able to get money to either help Mama for the last year, is kind of what I got from it, to live comfortably so that at least she could do that. And then so she could herself have enough money in her account so she wouldn't ever have to like end up back in that situation again. Which is, you know, that made my heart go, oh my goodness, because here she is back doing this. And, you know, who hates New York? But Elle does. Elle does. And so the studio, they offered to rent her an apartment to help inspire her. And then the cards all fell together when she agreed to house sit because the apartment's owner is someone she's apparently physically incapable of saying no to. That's exactly verbatim what it said. And I go, who could this be then? Someone you are physically incapable of saying no to.
Yeah.
Who a family member? A friend?
Yeah, maybe. Because she's got a little sister, right?
Yes.
And mom's gone.
Yep.
And I can't imagine it'd be dad.
Has she ever mentioned dad yet? I don't think so. No, not yet. So, okay, so we don't know. And so she's back at this coffee shop and she runs into Parker. And
I'm just following her? What are you doing,
yes,
Parker?
yes.
Did you have a job?
No, he's looking for fun, and we're going to learn that in just a little bit. But she hates his drink choice. He's sitting there with an espresso. She's giving him a nasty look, 'cause that's what she's doing with this guy. And meanwhile, she's got 3 cups in front of her. She's got a coffee, she's got a water, and then she's got a hot chocolate.
I couldn't relate harder. One thing everybody knows about me, I have 3-4 beverages around me at all times. If you could see this desk right now, you would see a water, you'd see a Topo Chico, you'd see a water with electrolytes, and you'd see a Celsius and an empty coffee cup. It's all I know. Just beverages all day.
But I fully agree with that, because even when I go to Starbucks sometimes, and I try not to do this too often, but it'll be really hot out. So I'm like, man, I really want, you know, my iced peach tea or like the pink drink or whatever just to cool me down. But then I was like, I also really need my caffeine though, if I'm going to exist today. So I might get both. And then of course I'm one of those people, I carry water with me. I know so many comedians make fun of us. I don't care. They go, you know, you're American when you're carrying a water bottle around. Like, I guess that's a tell-all sign.
Yeah, your water is the thing that makes you, it flushes your system every day. It's so good for you. So make fun of me all you want, but my insides are clean.
I'm hydrated, baby. So I very much was able to feel not Poppy. It's not this book. I was very much able to relate to Elle on this one because I was like, I am a 3-drink girly too. And if you're sitting, writing, working on a laptop at a coffee shop and you're there for hours, you might go through the coffee and then you go, I might want a little sweet treat. Like, what about a hot chocolate? So yeah, she sees him and her hatred for him is so intense that she ends up writing, not her screenplay, but for the first time that blockage is kind of broken and she starts writing again. And I'm like,
so we find out that he is her muse.
her twisted muse.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Then we bop to chapter 7. Parker shows up at her door and says he needs a date. And she says no because she's dumb. Just kidding.
Can really quick though, if someone shows up at your door, is that not your literal nightmare? Because that is mine. Like someone just dropping by.
Situation, that is my literal nightmare. Oh my God, I hate it. Oh my God, I hate it.
I feel like back in the olden days when people would just come and knock and see you, I would have a meltdown.
In my dad's neighborhood, there's a neighbor that would leave his door open, and Juju, rest his little sweet soul, would just go flying in. He'd leave Dad, go flying in, and then you'd hear, got that fucking pimple running.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if I'd love that, especially in her case, it's like her hot neighbor.
But hot neighbor? Anytime.
You're like, well.
Drop a little something off in my glass of water. You want to give me a fancy dress and a pair of Louboutins? Oh my God.
Which is what he does. Yet again, he's being cheeky. He's like, oh, is this your casual Friday look? That he's seen her in every single time he's seen her.
Yes.
Right?
Which is and refreshing to him, right? Because he only sees girls in tight dresses and little, trying to impress. And she just truly does not give a shit. And she's
different. Yeah, he likes that. And so he asks her full name and she's like, why, you can't find me? It's because she literally has scrubbed the entire internet of her name.
She writes under an alias, which is actually really smart. She never has to take on any people that hate her project. She gets to live this very clean, quiet lifestyle while still having wild success in the entertainment industry. It's kind of, if I could do that, if I
Brilliant.
could be an actor and be alone.
Don't look at my face. This is just AI, VEO3. I look different.
I am not a center of attention person, and people are always like, well, but you're an actor. That's what, it's like, no. What I signed up for is to emulate a character on TV. I didn't sign up to be like known. I don't know.
No, of course. That's what's so interesting too with influencers, because I feel so many people, especially lifestyle influencers, they go up to them going, I know you, because they've been watching them, they're sharing their deepest, darkest parts of their life. And then, just because you're doing that, it's tough because so many people will come up to you. Yeah. But you kind of give that up though when you go into entertainment, right? You kind of know that's the other end of it.
That success equals notoriety, and you want success because you want to have a successful career, and so you kind of have to accept it. But I wouldn't say it's always a fun. But that's about influencers and stuff. The parasocial relationship that comes is very interesting because people think that they know you just because you talk online, and that that line gets blurred and you had mental illness in some capacity. Now it's really blurred. Like it can be scary.
Of course. And I feel like back in the day when it was just celebrities and actors and you couldn't DM them, you maybe could write them fan mail, but they were this isolated figure out there.
Right. There's a fourth wall.
Yes. Now that's taken away. So it makes it all a little bit more interesting. But here, Elle is with, her pen name, and she wanted to get away from that. So he's at her door asking her full name, and they banter some more, and she goes, who are you, Rumpelstiltskin? And this little smart ass is like, no, Rumpelstiltskin asked the miller's daughter to guess his own name. So he's putting her in her place. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know, he's cheeky.
Yeah, and so he's like, all right, well, I need you to be my date. And she does not like that. And he asks, is that such a horrifying prospect? And she says, yes.
Which, do we believe that I know
No.
this has been written for the trope, the story, but like,
Do we really believe that? Because she says to him, I'd rather go streaking in the lobby. And
true.
he,
I think she'd
if,
rather go run around the lobby.
no, no. And he goes, yes, you're perfect. And he asks if she would sell a story about him to the tabloids. And she gets real pissy. And she's like about to say no. And he goes, exactly. He goes, again, you're perfect. And she turns him down. She gets pissed and she slams the door in his face. And this made me feel, don't you agree that men always want the chase? Like he's probably low key loving this because he never gets it. This is new for him. And so it's making him 100% more go,
It's in their genetic hardwiring. They literally, Cro-Magnon man went to hunt and gather. That's their built, and we haven't evolved very quickly. So that's the goal for them is to hunt, gather. That's why with all these prospects in LA or on your phone or whatever, it's I've caught you, so now I'm going to hunt and gather you. And there's a really tough time just being like, I'm going to sit and be okay with where I'm at.
yeah, no. So part of me is like, well, maybe this whole hating him thing is a front.
Maybe she's just a master
Manipulator.
manipulator. Just maybe she knows exactly what she's doing, and she's like, I'm just gonna play so hard to get and capture this guy.
Hey, but you know what? It seems to be working because he leaves a dress out there. There's a note pinned to it. It says 8 p.m. or see you at 8 p.m. Like, you're so presumptuous, sir. Like,
Well, because she says I don't have any dresses or heels, and he goes, "Don't worry about that." So he sends a dress, sends shoes. She calls her girl. Her girl goes, "Those are really fancy. That's like a really fancy designer. Like you got to accept this. You got to go." So they go to this dinner at Edith Adelaide, who's a little nepo baby, but also made her own way, which is very exciting. And she's this very sweet 87-year-old lady.
yes.
And they have a kind of a nice time. Edith shows her her wonders, which is super cute. Edith has decided that she wants to spend her money gathering like really fancy knickknacks, like a Monet or something. And then she's going to donate them all when she goes. She's like, I want to live around them right now. So I thought that was really cute.
Go off, queen.
Yes. And then we also talked about Gramercy Park, which is one of my favorite places in New York City. Although you can only go in it if that's a real thing. You can only go in the park if you live around the perimeter and you have a key. There's like 100 keys in existence. And we actually filmed an episode of SVU outside of one of them, which was super cool. And my dad came to set. He and Iced Tea hung out for a little while. It was very cute. But yeah, so she lives outside Gramercy Park. That's the first time we kind of like get an idea of where we're at. I don't know where they are in comparison to Parker and Elle. We find out that Parker knows she's a writer, and he figured it out because he's real smart. Also, that's what happens when you have a lot of money. You can figure out a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah. And so before he figures out that he knows she's the writer, all this crazy stuff goes on inside this dinner party, right? Like there are these basically like socialites and heiresses who are coming through, not being so nice. And I did love one of them. What was her name? Carissa. She comes up. She's got like the silver hair, like silvery blonde. And she's like, so, Elle, who are you? Where do you vacation? And blah, blah, blah. Where do you summer? That was it. And Elle goes, well, first of all, I don't use summer as a verb. Like, yes.
She just slices her down immediately.
Yeah. And then there's another guy who comes up named Walter Dresden, who is even worse, you know, and Parker is sitting there going like, this guy's even worse. And when he comes up, he doesn't even acknowledge Parker at first. And he's like, so what do you do, beautiful lady? And she's like, I'm a writer. And he's been like, oh, writers don't make money. And she's so pissed inside because she's like, you don't know who.
What a dumb thing to say.
Just awful, just awful. And he goes on and she's just sitting there like taking it gracefully, you know, and then eventually she leaves. But before she leaves, when she's meeting these people, Parker has his hand placed on her lower back and he kind of starts tracing circles and she...
One thing this bitch is gonna do, she's gonna figure out where that man's hand is.
Hand placement. But she was not mad about it and she let him do it. So they're sitting there and yeah. The billionaire neighbor. Okay. But she's letting him do it. And eventually, when she gets pissed off by this guy, Walter, she leaves and she goes out on the balcony for a breather. And all of a sudden, she turns around because she hears a voice. And what do you know? It's Parker. And he goes, I bet the stars hate us. I bet they're angry about that time I said that the universe looks dull now that I've seen you. And she melts into putty because Parker's saying he's quoting his favorite movie. It's Alien Love Story. And she's the one who wrote it.
Not Alien Love Story. Not the $1 billion budget or the $1 billion moneymaker.
1000%. Alien Love Story. And then he goes on to explain at this point that their mail must have gotten mixed up because they both were invited to the 30 under 30 party. And he's like, I was looking at all the people who were writers and I was looking at the photos and it just left it to a certain amount of people. And long story short, I mean, he's smart. He figured it out. So, okay, well, then we go into chapter 8, which is the last chapter that we were reading for this episode. And we're back home. And he asks Elle if she would be his date again. And she gives a whole reason as to why she won't. And she mentioned like women must throw themselves at you. And she goes, but I'm not going to sleep with you. And he repeats his phrase again, date me for the summer. She's like, did you not hear a word I just said? And he goes, I said date, not fuck.
Yeah, because she said, I'm not going to sleep with you.
Yeah, I loved it. But her mouth goes dry when he says that. Probably so did mine when I was reading it. She asks him why, and he questions it, basically saying, is it so hard to believe that someone would want to spend time with you? Because he essentially really likes spending time with her. Mm-hmm. However, then he explains there's an acquisition for his company, right? And he'll finally have free time. He's never had free time, and he explains that's why he's never really dated, because there's just so much drama, so much stuff that goes on with it. It's very time consuming, and she's still not buying it. And he's like, okay, fine. It'll help not give me negative press while I'm going through the acquisition, which in my opinion, I feel like he was saying this because she wasn't agreeing or believing anything he was saying. Because he's like, I want to spend time with you. I like you. He was being vulnerable, I guess, with her. And she kept just going, no, no, no. So he gives her this reasoning and she's like, haha, there it is. It's all for PR. And she goes, no, thanks. And then he calls her out for having writer's block because he has been listening to her pitter patter through through the thin walls. And he's like, so like, you're having writer's block? And she's like, how do you know? And blah, blah, blah. So long story short, they end up making a deal, an agreement of sorts that they date for the summer and he will go with her and kind of be like his twisted muse to all the locations she has to write about and experience all the things because look, he even called it out. He goes, you're staying next to like your sworn enemy and we're both here in New York.
Movie, right?
Yeah.
Play. This is great. Like he's helping. I don't know why he's helping her because she is just saying no, no, no. And I think it's 50-50. I think he was trying to be vulnerable, but I think he is like, if we date, then I don't have to deal with the publicity and the press of this acquisition. So this actually would help me. Yeah. And you're going to think that anyway, so I might as well tell you what the truth is here. And then they'll, we'll see what happens. So we end our episode with a deal. And the deal is we date for the summer and you get inspiration and I don't have to deal with bad press for my acquisition.
Yep. But low key, I really do feel like he wants to spend the summer with her. I feel like he's never... Yeah, he's really into her, very attracted to her. He's never had the challenge.
If he wanted to, they will. So he's not hanging out with her because he genuinely doesn't want bad PR for his acquisition. He's kicking it with her because he likes her. It's just an added benefit.
Exactly. So I'm curious from here, where do you think it's going to go? Like, what do you kind of think is going to happen next?
Well, I think they're going to slowly start to fall for each other.
Ooh. They're going to slowly start to fall for each other and start going to all these locations. And then there's going to be some major conflict. Something naughty is going to happen. I wonder if they'll sleep together sooner than later. Because in
No,
our last book, you had to wait all the way
that's a
until
long
the
way.
end.
That's why chapter one, they're making out. That was fun.
Yeah.
I want to know what I'm curious is how long until they acknowledge that they hooked up. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, for when he remembers her. Because I think he has to remember her, but maybe not. I don't know this writer, her style, or what she'll do or not do. So that's what's always so fun with a new writer too. That if you haven't read, you're like, I don't know, like the kahuna's on you. Are you gonna make me like hate the story? Are you gonna make me love it, or both, or what are we gonna do? So that's always very exciting.
Yes.
So
So
exciting.
our next episode will be chapters 9 through 16.
Correct. So we'll be back here next Tuesday, 12 p.m. New episodes, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the streaming audio platforms. And again, make sure you're following us on social media. We share a lot of fun content there as well. We are at a Novel Bunch podcast, but we love you guys. We appreciate you. I'm so excited. We're on book 2. Like, let's go, baby. Let's go. We'll see you guys next time.